Big up. We got the laptop working. Somehow we got the laptop working, people. Therapy Army, how are we doing? How are we doing? Big up to every one of you, man. Yeah. It's the United. Welcome to the United Real Therapy. Welcome to United Real Therapy, people. It's been a bundle of joy watching Man United and doing previews and match reactions. It's not been a bloody joy. It's been a nightmare. Basically, Man United are, in big trouble. Man United are in big trouble. And we're going to be breaking it down with the boys tonight. Welcome, boys. Welcome, boys.
Good evening.
Evening. How are we doing? Big up to every one of you in the comments. Big up,
big up
Ivanov. Big up Ivanov in the comments as well. Big up, man. RDX 2000. Big up to every one of you early birds here, man. So yeah, like I say, welcome to United Real Therapy. It's not been a bundle of joy covering Man United on YouTube. It's not been a bundle of joy. I ain't gonna lie to you people. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. It's been a bit of a nightmare. I said it. Bottle job I coined that a long time ago, 5 years ago. So Mundo, welcome to the stream, bro. How you feeling? I had a Rona lick you down.
Yeah. It was. I had it for a week. It was quite bad, but I feel okay now.
Did the kids take it easy on you? Did they take it easy on you? Or are they still getting you up?
No, one of them's got it now.
Oh. How bad are they?
She's quite bad. She's got a fever.
Oh.
So stay safe, people. This is not a nice disease when it gets you.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, man.
I got flu and it wiped me out, man. Wiped my New Year's Eve plans, New Year's Day plans, all of that. Wiped me out. Proper wiped me out.
Oh, United wiped you out, man.
United. Listen, I've had United.
You lost this shit last week on here, bro.
Listen, that's what I said. I've had United Nighters for the past 10 years, mate. We've all been suffering.
If anything happens to you, I'm going down to the stadium. God help them.
Listen, Bumbaye, welcome to the stream, man. How you doing, bro? You good?
Yeah, man. Good, bro. Good. Everything. Can't complain. Life is all right.
Mm-hmm. The weather's disgusting, though, innit? The weather's so bad. Even though today was a bit sunny in Manchester, it's still bad.
At least it's dry.
Yeah, that's the thing. Big up to every one of you, man. Big up to every one of you. So tonight we're going to get into it. We're going to do a match preview. Obviously, Villa. And I titled it Lowblockfc, here we go. Because that's what we are, people. In 10 years, we were Keep the Ball FC on the Vanguard. No, I'm going to break it down for you. Cross the ball at every opportunity FC on the Moyes. Keep the ball at any cost, even if it doesn't mean that we don't have any shots on goal on the Vanguard. Low block FC under Jose and counter-attack. Oli was all attack to begin with and then went to Jose tactics. And now we're back to Oli's tactics, Oli and Jose tactics. So Mundo, talk to me. I mean, we can talk about the leaks. We'll go into some of Ronaldo's comments. We can talk a bit about Rashford. But let's get into it. Start with you, Mundo. You've not been on here for a while. Even though you've had the Rona, how's Man United? I know that you're looking at it through one eye when you're smashed up. But talk to me.
You know what? I have to hold my hands up because I have, over the years, given it full barrel to the managers. You know, the tactics and everything else. But what I'm seeing now, I'm not blaming. I'm 100% behind Ralph. And what I'm seeing now is, and I've come to the realization, and it pains me to say it, but we are winning nothing with this group of players. That's the honest truth. Because yes, we have talented players in this group, but football is about two things. One is about talent. One is about mentality. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if you can have all the talent in the world, but if you've got the wrong mentality, then what you lack is consistency, and you need consistency to win. Even more so now, you've got teams like Liverpool and City who are consistent every year. Man City have gone to another level. we want to compete with Man City, so we have to make some hard choices as a club, because the players have proven. We've got a new guy in Ralph Rangnick. His tactics that he's suggesting are modern day football tactics that teams like Liverpool play and successful teams, Bayern Munich, big clubs play, pressing football. And our players have just not taken to it. So if they're not prepared to get on board with modern tactics, then, you know, what's next? Something's got to change at the club. And for me, it's these players are not very intelligent, because yes, he's only the manager for 6 months, but he's going to be advising the board for the next 2 years. He's had a good look at these players now. He should be saying to the board, and I hope to God they're listening to him, this guy, he needs to go. Just get rid and start again and getting players. And the thing is, when you're buying players, this is what Ferguson was famed for. He used to get SAS guys to follow you and all these compiled dossiers on the lifestyle and the mentality of the player. That was a big part of what Fergie used to want to know. What's this player's profile like? What are they like mentally? What are they going to be like in a dressing room? What's their attitude like? Encourage all his players to get married, settle down, not mess about. All of this was so important, the focus, and we just completely. And Pep's the same. I get the sense he's the same. And as soon as someone at City steps out of line and says, "I don't want to play here anymore," you don't beg them. He just gets rid. Ferran Torres, Leroy Sané, very talented players. He just gets rid of them. Whereas we seem to cling on to these guys. As soon as they say we don't want to play for you, as soon as they start downing tools, they should be out of the door.
That's another one, Mundo. Klingon FC. Klingon! not Klingon FC, mate, in every way you think of it. I don't believe every player in this football club doesn't want to succeed. I don't believe every player this football club doesn't want to listen to the new manager. I think it's the culture that's been set for the past 9 years to 10 years. And I think it's been keep quiet, propaganda FC. We'll do the propaganda machine for you. We'll make you out to be world beaters when you're not. But we'll have a hype machine behind you like you are. So there's zero accountability. Accountability always comes from the top, Mundo, as you know. If the people on the top are not accountable, why should the footballers who play for the football club be accountable? That's my question to Ole Bumbaye.
Well, I mean, to be fair to me, I've always backed managers. I wanted to give Moyes till Christmas, but at a certain point, the fans get so much, everyone around you gets so much that I do succumb in the end and just think, forget it, it's no point. You know, I wanted to keep Van Gaal. I definitely wanted to keep Jose, but it gets to the point where it's like, if you say, it's like saying I'm voting Trump, you just get killed. That's how I felt, honestly, before. And I'm 100% behind Ralph Rangnick, 1,000,000%. There's a lot of these players that you know me. I want them gone a long time ago when people were fighting for them. So finally, retrospect is a good thing. At least we can sit here now and say, you know what? Everything that's happened before, we can look at things in different ways, because after 9 years, we're no further along. And all of a sudden, from the managers constantly getting the bullets from everywhere, from every angle, the players seem to be in the limelight more than ever. And it is now them that have a problem, not the managers. And Mundo's right, and we've said it on here many times. You know what? You don't need money to win. Quality alone is not enough to win. We played under Ferguson so many games where we were not the better team, but we come through. Because you have a culture, a mentality. Everybody's a family. Everybody's willing to fight for each other. Everybody's there. So these players now, and I watched Ronaldo's interview, and it's what Ronaldo said there. You know, people think there's something to be had between the lines here and there. If you know Ronaldo, which everybody does, there's nothing that should surprise you there. One thing we all thought when Ronaldo came, which we were going to get, was hopefully he will inspire these players, motivate these players, raise the standards. Because this is a guy that won Ballon d'Or as a United player. and won Champions League as a United player, so he knows what it's all about. He's not back here for the money. He's back here wants to win things. But you know,
I would have told him.
the players.
I would have told him he's quite mistaken. Big up, and welcome to the stream, bro. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm all good. How are you guys?
Yeah,
evening, Sian.
Big up, man. Big up. We're just asking the question. I'm gonna actually push back against a lot of these because I always think with the fan base, it's always one extreme. With me, it's always one extreme in terms of the football structure of this football club, and I'll take it to my grave. You know what I mean? I'll bang on about it unless it changes. And when it changes, people, trust me, especially rival fans, I'll come and tell you personally, one-on-one, that Man United are back. To me, I keep saying it, this is the fruits. This is the fruits of that labor, of that no accountability. Jobs for the boys business FC. How come 3 bankers who all went to the same university be in charge of every department of Man United? That don't make sense. We have owners who don't care, who bought us out all our own money, who conned us because the government at the time allowed it to have the most hostile takeover, leveraged takeover in the history of football, European football. No other European football club has ever been taken over by people who know nothing about football and in the way that it was allowed to happen. So this was always going to come to a head. So I am not now, because I always judge where the bandwagon and the fan base is going. I don't believe every player is not listening. Do I think there's some players who threw their dummies out the pram because they're not used to this? They're not used to having any accountability. And coaches and managers have also allowed these players. At this moment in time, in my deep down belief, I don't know it. I can only judge it the way I see it. And that's what I always do, therapy army. I always judge it the way I see it. I don't think Raf's in charge. I think Raf has compromised himself. I think it's Fletcher feeling and the bankers are in the team. Me personally. But CM, do you think the players deserve the whole bandwagon everybody's jumping on, and that every one of them deserves to be criticized?
I don't think, bro, nobody's saying all of them. Just get that straight.
No, that's the truth. Every majority.
No. Listen, not all 29 players. Nobody's saying that. There is a problem with the players, bro. That's what we're saying.
No, listen, there's a problem, but the bandwagon is get them all out. And
bro, that's not even possible.
And to me personally, the way even the interview was set up with Ronaldo, I'm gonna just break it down for people. Right, when a player of especially Ronaldo's caliber, he's been in the news. Ronaldo's not happy with the players. The players are not happy with Ronaldo. Ronaldo finally sits down with one of the Muppets that used to work at United, who works for Sky now. Stephen Powell, whatever the Muppet his name is, absolute xenophobic Muppet. He sits down with him. Check him out if you. Those of you who know. You don't think Ronaldo's been given a script by the club, but still, Ronaldo was there to say it's about players' mentality. It helps because you take away from the bankers the responsibility of the bankers of the culture they developed, and all of a sudden just put it on the players. Nah, CM, I want you to answer that question. Is it fair that the owners, the people who run Man United for the past 10 years or even longer, are all now saying, oh, it's the players. It's nothing to do with us, it's the players. When you give the players the biggest propaganda machine any sports team has in the world, and you hype them to the extent you hype them, and then you show them there's zero accountability, I don't buy that. I'm sorry, I don't buy that.
Yeah, I think everybody has to take accountability, you know, in the end of the day. On the football pitch, we can look at the performances of the players and criticize them for that. In the end of the day, we don't know what happens on the training grounds. We only hear what comes out on these supposed leaks or newspaper articles in the end of the day. So we can criticize the players for what goes on the pitch. We can criticize the coaches for that. But at the same time, we have to keep the same energy for those above, because those are the ones in the transfer windows that have constantly failed this team, constantly failed the fans, constantly failed the present and previous managers. And, you know, they've used big signings to cover up those failures in the end of the day, those signings that have created, that have been good for the board, good for the clicks of the club, good for the news highlights in the end of the day. So I think accountability has to be everywhere. But the problem with Manchester United and the board in particular is that they will do everything in their in their powers to shift that blame onto either the manager or the players. And for a lot of the time, the managers are always the fall guys. But right now, what we're seeing is we're with a guy in Ralph Rangnick who's in an interim situation. Like, we mentioned before, it's been so many years of failure to the point where Manchester United have to find someone else to blame. And now we're seeing the players becoming the major fall guys. Before we've seen maybe a few players take hits, but now we're seeing a lot of them. And I think in the end of the day, accountability needs to be thrown everywhere, but it needs to be fairly, because I feel like some of these guys, fair enough, we can say get rid of all of them, and that's fair enough. But if we get rid of everybody and bring in a new set of players, is the culture going to be any more different? No. So it all starts from up there. We've sacked so many managers, and somehow we've always got back to rock bottom. We've brought in players, we've got rid of players, we've brought in players who are supposed to be game changers, and somehow we always get back to this point where we're at rock bottom.
I'll actually go further, Mundo, and say that we destroy players. Players who come to Man United go to other clubs and win trophies. Leave Man United and go. Back in the day, it was when we had a football structure. After you've been a Man United, you only went downhill. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's like. You are Man United, and after you leave Man United, you only goes one way. Players have actually gone on and done bits in other clubs and moved on and done bits.
Should I tell you why I'm putting my focus on the players? Because for the first time, I'm seeing the players not putting any effort on the pitch. That's what I'm not talking about what I'm reading on social media, seeing in the press, what's happening in the board. I'm thinking about what I'm seeing with my own eyes and what I'm seeing.
But do you not think, Mundo, that you saw similar performances with Jose? Low block football.
No. I tell you the difference. I tell you the difference between this and the Jose situation. With Jose, I never felt that the players were not trying. I just thought the system, the style was wrong. I could see that the team was too deep, and it didn't suit the profile players that we had. Ranick's had criticism about his system, right? But what I'm watching on the pitches, when the ball breaks down, I'm seeing our players in the position to win the ball back, right? So I know the team's set up right, but I'm not seeing the players run. I'm not seeing them sprint. I'm not seeing them energy. I'm seeing nothing. And
but I come to that question. So, especially talking about the wide players, I just want to inform people. Under Ollie liked to play as the cheat mode. I used to call it the cheat mode. I used to explain it to people. It's called the cheat mode. Inform people. Under Ollie, belly visual, turn it off, man. Big up belly visual. We're gonna have a bit of a debate about Rashford. So big up, bro. I'm just gonna make a point. So Rashford and Greenwood, this is Ollie's tactics. This is Ollie coaching staff. They would leave them as the inverted wingers on up there, and they will get the midfielders to hustle to win the ball back. So as soon as they win the ball back, that quick transition, those players would be out there. So it's like a cheat mode. But the emphasis was that you kept their energy, so they still have energy throughout the game, and also you can quickly counter attack the team that you're playing, because if you get the ball to those players, they're already up the pitch. So one or two passes, and then you're away. So the players have been used to that. For me, about the Crystal Palace game, we saw it for a half. I was there sitting there watching it, and I saw that intensity. I don't genuinely believe. I think the compromise has come from the club, because the players have always been listened to. When you build a culture of no accountability, letting players take the piss, because the thing about Jose and Ollie was that Jose would come out and hammer players and stigmatize players, even though the players who we would hammer, like the Martial, the Pogba, they will constantly bail him out and bail him out and bail him out with goals and performances, right? But under Oli, none of that happened. Players all love Oli because players were allowed to get away with murder. So all of a sudden, you're asking players to quickly have a massive change of culture and then to go then and perform and play like Liverpool, play like Chelsea, where we haven't played like that.
We're asking him to run. That's all we're asking him to do.
What I'm thinking, but the thing that Ollie's been built on, Ollie's football, Mundo, you saw it in that Europa League final, because that Europa League final was synonymous with everything that happened in that game. Players were overplayed, so the players were never in threat to be dropped or to be taken out of the team. Players were favoritism ranked highly among anybody else. They were favorites. You can see it. And nothing has changed with Ralph. And Ralph is telling you he spent 2.5 hours on the phone with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Why does he have to spend 2.5 hours on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Why does he try to persuade McKenna and Carrick to leave? And it was only because some of the fans like us and so a couple of pundits were like, well, Ollie's gone. You guys can't stay now. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So why all of a sudden we expect these players to be that to me, that's it. The compromise is players have to me, Ranić never had anybody could see he didn't have the players to play 4-2-2-2. You can't, we don't have it. We've got 2 number 8s. We keep brainwashing the fans to thinking they're number 6s. They're not. They're number 8s. They are number 8s. And we expect them to be defensively sound, to hustle and bustle and win the ball back. But they don't. When we come against any quality team, we get moved around. I just want to welcome him, but very visual. But I'll let you, Bumbaye, answer that point. How can, under Oli, players took liberties? They were allowed to take liberties. They were allowed to be lazy on the pitch. And that's what we would see. Because they weren't running around. And all of a sudden, at the beginning of the season, Ollie's like, hey guys, you've got to go and play this pressing football, which we never trained for. And obviously, Liverpool did what they did to us, play through us, because they don't know how to press. What I saw against Villa, for me, drastically worried me, because we're back to favoritism again. Bruno, go and do what you want. Rashford, go and do what you want. And everybody else just play the way we used to play. And that's why, for a team like Villa, who has never a possession base, they're more mid to high press, sometimes quick transition, winning the ball back. They had 57% possession at Old Trafford and played us off the park. So I don't know. There is a bit on the players that you've never trained them. You've set a culture in place, and now you're asking them to do impossible things. And then all of a sudden, we're supposed to pile on. But just quickly answer, and then I'll come to, and then we'll have a little 10, 15 minutes debate about Rashford, because Belly Visual was one of those early birds that was saying Rashford is horrendous. So go ahead.
First and foremost, man, Ranić is fully in charge for me. You've got to remember Ralph Ranić's name and his entire consultancy firm. That reputation is at stake here. He's not just going to come in here and compromise his name, what he's built, and his entire livelihood by letting somebody like Darren Fletcher and Mike Phelan. And I told you, these guys, you keep them around.
Interviewed him for the role. John Murtagh and Darren Fletcher interviewed him for the role. So
don't matter.
You asked one question. What qualification has Darren Fletcher got to be a Manchester United first-team coach? Because he trained the kids at Stoke. Explain that to me. How do you go from Stoke to having a massive structural position at this football club to be now Ralph Ranić's first-team coach making decisions with Ralph on the touchline? How?
Well, you could say, how does Ralph Ranić himself become Manchester United manager? You could say he's way out of his depth.
Of course,
that's football. Yeah, right. No, so that answers your question. Ultimately, Ralph Ranić, what I'm trying to say to you is, he wanted Michael Carrick to stay. He's made the decision to keep whoever he's keeping because we don't like it, and we think that we know how it is. I don't buy that.
It's not about we don't like it. It's about being qualified. Show me what's on your CV that you've done. I know Ralph Ranić. He's only won one German cup in 30 years of coaching. So as a coach, right? He's a good coach in terms of systems, but he's not an amazing manager. But where he is amazing at is building football structures that, after he leaves, that sustains football clubs. IP Leipzig, all the Red Bull teams. He's done this at different football clubs. Putting a football structure that works. He's not known for being a manager. He like I said, 81 games in 10 years. Nah, that's not successful because people have not said to you, they've not employed you because you're not a good manager. But as a director of football or a sporting director, he's good. So that's preparation. Go ahead.
You have to, at a certain point, not do what the board have been doing. That's the problem with Man United. The board bring in a guy like Jose, one of the best managers ever. They pay him the second highest salary in world football. And then they want to tell him who to buy and who to sell and what to do. Doesn't work. You don't get Ralph Rangnick, 63 years old. He's been successful. I keep saying it in different ways. He's got a lot of strings to his bow.
No, he's most successful.
Look, let me explain. Let me answer your question and just give me a minute here. Ralph Rangnick is somebody a lot of people were happy with. That was a name that I kept hearing.
Yeah.
He's here. Right. Listen, the guy is here. You have to put your faith in the manager. I'm a person that will always back him. I am now. You're asking me about the players. The players, for me, since the Mourinho days, the mentality was all wrong. And I backed Mourinho because the mentality was all wrong, and he was trying to build that mentality. Now we went to
I'm sorry, I'm not going to let it slide. That guy's trash football, horrendous.
Look, I'm trying to explain something to you. Keep him. Move, bro. Listen, move to the next person. You don't let me speak. Forget it. I'm
just putting it out there because I don't want you to caveat Jose being a great manager, but with stinking style of football. That's a fact.
You're asking me about players. What is my take on why it's the players? I'm giving you a prelude to the answer by telling you when Mourinho is playing dog football and just for results and we go on a 36-game unbeaten run, it's to get these players back to getting used to not losing games at least.
No.
We don't lose games, all right? And I was saying that when he was in charge. I didn't tell you the football's great. The players now, you just said from your own mouth, Ollie was giving them the nice, easy ride. That ride is over. That ride is over now. You're well paid. You're here representing Manchester United. Know where you are. This is a new manager, a new regime with new ideas. You have to get on board. Bare minimum, apply yourselves. The reason we're sat here talking about our team and the players are getting it now is because the effort is not quite there. The application is not there, as well as the form, as well as the performances. And look, there's no point in digging too deep into the Villa and stuff like that. The guy's been here for 5 weeks.
You're only good as your last game.
Listen, no, bro. You are not only as good as your last game. No, you're not. He's been here for 5 weeks, and there's a lot of problems. And only now. If you would have said these problems existed 5 years ago, we would have said, no, it's not.
They have existed. I always talked about
now. You're seeing
that a football structure, Manchester United, I said it 5 years ago. Manchester United, and I said it to Mundo, and I said it to you, but you want to forget, you want to have amnesia now. Manchester United football structure is dog shite. We've got bankers who running stuff. And there's a guy called Ed Woodward, and I was banging on about it, and I will talk to you guys after coming back from protest to protest, saying the club is rotten, and Man United are not winning anything. And I also said we're going to be the new Arsenal. And the remit was top 4. And the only reason why they got rid of Jose, Van Gaal, or Moyes is because, not that the board didn't like them, it's because all 3 of them, when it was impossible for them to reach top 4, they sacked them. Facts.
The players are in the limelight for many reasons. You've got a lot of discontent from players now being arsey saying, I want to leave, I'm unhappy. We'll leave and go then.
Because we don't let the players go, like Mundo said. We don't let the players want to leave.
You don't let
We don't let the players, when players come out and say, I want to leave, we don't go, okay, there you go, see you later. We don't.
I think the problem.
Ralph Rangnick came in, and his second press conference was like, yeah, players want to go, they don't go. Next minute, The bankers get hold of him. Yeah. Stop it right here, mate.
Look, bro, I'll give you the short answer and we'll move on. Yeah. Anybody. Look. Short answer. Then, bro, let me give you the short answer and then let someone else speak. He's the boss.
No,
you do what he says.
He's not the boss.
Well, that's your opinion. I don't believe that.
Because I saw it with my own eyes. That's not
okay. All right. For me, the answer to your question is anybody that wants to leave if you can get rid of them and find somebody to pay them these wages and get someone. That's our first problem. And the second problem is if you've got an issue with having competition for places and you think you're going to play by default, again, you're mistaken. Third, you have to apply yourself. If the system and all this shit is what we're going to keep talking about, player application is not quite there in these games. That's where some of the criticism's coming from. And finally, bro, this is the boss. What he says you have to do. If you don't like it, the board have to say to Ralph, and this should be for any future managers, and it should have been for all managers, past and present. Don't come and speak to me. I'm not involved in this anymore. We have given the reins to this person. Go and speak to the manager if you've got any problems. When he has that kind of control, we can see, hopefully, something resembling progress. Otherwise, any manager, let's say, it doesn't matter who it is, if he's undermined and things are meddled with, it's very difficult.
But this club has always had this. This club, from day one, from the first point you made, every manager is being undermined. When bankers
I know this.
Undermine every person, then this is it. People think Ralph Ranier is some guy that's gonna come in. Ralph Ranier actually said no to them. Then they went back to him. They lied to every manager. They promised Van Gaal these certain players, David Moyes these certain players. They promised Ole Gunnar Solskjaer these certain players. And 99% of Manchester United fans know, before we signed Ronaldo, that we needed a midfielder. We needed a midfield players. And then you buy a midfielder like Donny van der Beek and smash him on the bench for 2 years. But anyway, we'll go away from that. Now, Belly Visual, I'm going to just big up Belly Visual. Thank you for coming on. I want to give a context to Belly Visual. Belly Visual was the guy that when me and Saeed were doing the videos from early on, we're talking about 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Nearly that. Would you say that about that time? And
yeah, roughly, yeah.
Rashford and saying about he doesn't rate Rashford. He doesn't think Rashford is a Man United player. Am I putting words in your mouth, or is that what you said?
I wouldn't say Man United player, but for the context, I don't think he's a player to take us any further. If that makes sense. Okay. So other than me putting words in your mouth, carry on, bro. Carry on. Look. He's had 7 seasons, just like Martial, etc. Right? I personally think he's hit his ceiling point. Yeah, I'm not going to use this excuse. We burn him out, etc. Like he scores.
No, but that's a fact, though. That's a fact, though. That's a fact that we burnt him out, and Bruno out as well.
No, but we have burnt him out. But people would say Ollie's burnt him out. But like you said, I've been saying this for a while back. It's like, let me put it like this: we got scouts to scout players, right? You scout them in advance, see if they'll fit into your team, etc., etc.
We don't do that, Man United.
No, I know, but I'm just it from my point, right? So, and you do it with your own players. Can your own players take you any further? So, I can't see this from then. Like he's done pretty good for us, right? But I can't see this guy taking us any further. He's just, to me, he's basic. He scores the goals, but when it comes to the big boy game, I'm not going to hear this Man City game because it's nonsense, bro. Like he scores against Man City. Man City, bro. But on the top level,
his record, he's actually him and Martial maybe are the two players, are the big game players for Man United in the last 5 years. Because they in the Premier League, right? Yeah, I hear that. Rashford has scored against everybody, while the likes of Lukaku and that only score against certain teams. But even though he's not a striker, but go ahead.
But I don't really rate Lukaku in here. But I'm just saying, when the rumours that Barcelona was interested in Rashford, 90 mils, etc., I would have taken it. Simple as that. Okay. I don't care if you've come from the youth team or whatever. I'm looking at it as a business to invest in the club, and that's how I see it. Like so.
Well, you're asking for a proper football club that's proper run, that is looking at where they can make football. Man United are not that though, bro. Man United are not that type of club.
I know.
Man United are PR FC, over hype FC. I think Rashford is a good player. Do I think Rashford is in the conversations of these world beaters? No, he's never been that guy. But Rashford, for what he did well, he did well. I believe Rashford has been undercoached, underdeveloped. He's at a high-profile football club.
Yeah.
And when you're playing on the pitch, the pressure is a different level than most of them, because we're a giant. We are a sleeping giant, yeah? But with a giant, with that much fan base, the type of like the attention that's on you and every pass and every game and everything is huge than other clubs, right? Now, there are Bayern Munich's, it's the same. Barcelona's, Real Madrid's. They're the only clubs that can compete in terms of the hype and the media surrounding them. I think Marcus Rashford and Andy Martial suffered under Jose because Jose never coaches attackers. You can read it in his book. If you don't think I'm lying to you, read it in his book. Coach Jose concentrated on setting up to mid to low blocks football and getting everybody to buy into that style of football in terms of being defensive and nicking goals 1-0, nicking games 1-0. That's what Jose was about. So Van Gaal, for me, the last time I saw Rashford and Martial playing with no worry in their games, just going and playing like to where they've been coached and doing repetitive things and making runs was Van Gaal. The last coach at Man United had was Van Gaal, right? Yep. So it's a bit unfair. Yes, do I think Rashford can take some? I personally think if you ask Mr. Aaron UTD, you've also watched that channel. Constantly, I would always talk about how fatigued he looks, how dead on his feet he looked, right? When Ollie came in, he did good, but he got played to death. And then after that, certain players, when they're a certain age especially, if you fatigue them, that's why through our history, footballers have been said, for young players, you bring them in, bed them, take them out. Bring them in. And that's why a lot of people got frustrated with Pep Guardiola, because Fergie used to do the same. Mundo's here. Oli Bombay is here. CM's here. Mundo, am I right? Fergie used to bring you in, take you out, bring you in, because he never wanted to burn them out. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Rashford was looked at his savior to keep his job. And he became that Moments FC with Bruno, where him and Bruno bailing Man United out. Now, for me, I want people to come on this channel, and I want you, Belly Visual, to tell me which other players have been consistent and have showed good form and have been a worthy brace other than Bruno for a year and a half for the past 9 years.
All right. So, like I said, right, as a club, you'd want your club to be run properly, right? Making profits, winning trophies, etc., right? Would you agree on that? So what you said there, I totally agree. But at the same time, we got to move on from that. You got Greenwood that's coming up. You don't want Greenwood to go through that, do you?
No, right? He's going through it. He's going through it. It's not going through it now.
No. All right. He's going through it right now, yeah? But you just spoke about Ralph, right? Me personally, I've said in the spaces, you've been in Twitter spaces, and I've said recently, I don't want United to sign no DM. I don't want United signing no one this January, right? I want Ralph to rinse out this team. Come end of the season, we get rid of players, we bring someone else in. Hopefully there's a manager in the works behind closed doors, and they could have some idea of what players to sign, right? Etc. Now, going back to Rashford, yes, you're right. That has happened to Rashford and many other players, right? But at the same time, we got to move on. You got to make an L. You know, you got to take that L.
Yeah, but this club are not about that. Well, only time you ever hear the Glazers speak, the Glazers talk about how much the biggest thing, the propaganda the Glazers have you ever heard the interviews? Have you ever heard the Glazers interviews? They talk about how youth players are trained, then they go and play for Manchester United, one of the biggest teams in the world football. That's what they talk about.
I hear that, but hear me out again, right? I said, Ollie, come October, if he doesn't improve, he's got to move, innit? Simple as that. He's throwing himself under the bus, right? They put Ralph in. You've just explained what Ralph is about. So we've got Ralph. I'm looking at it as a positive side, yeah? Come summer, he's going to be at the top, and we bring someone else in. I hear what you're saying. The club owners that we've got right now ain't the one. But right now, bringing in Ralph, they made a right decision. That's a positive side going forward, right? Would you agree on that?
Well, at this moment in time, yes. Yeah, I don't even know that Ralph's been undermined already.
Right?
To be undermined already.
All right, I hear that, yeah. But at the same time, I don't really like leaks. If I see an interview live, I'll take that on board, innit, right? But at the same time, what you said there with Rashford is spot on, just like many other players. And personally, when was the last time Manchester United has made money off a player profit-wise?
Oh, Dan James was the last player. Oh, that's
All
the
right,
first. He's just one.
Okay,
In the last, I don't know,
yeah. So
one.
we got to make that decision. Our club has to look going forward, innit? Like, you know,
We've got 29 players for visual. 29 players.
Yeah, and I'm hoping the majority of them leave this summer, bro. That's what I'm saying. I don't want no one to come. I don't want no one to come.
Glazeonomics, bro. Glazeonomics says that players can't leave.
But I don't want no DM coming. But
Yo, this is going to be a long show, man.
I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you the facts. The Glazeonomics to players who achieve nothing, who have achieved.
Let the man just give us his argument.
That's why a person like Phil Jones can be there for a decade, and now all of the propaganda say, "Oh, but he's gone through terrible injuries." Who else hasn't gone through the terrible injuries? Rowe went through terrible injuries.
But that's my point. That's what I'm trying to explain. I don't want no DM to come because I don't want no one to be given another lifeline. Simple as that. Yeah? I don't want no one. So when you talk about Rashford, yeah, he's been burnt out, but he's been doing that same thing, running into brick walls from day dot, bro. So, like, that's something he hasn't improved on. Simple as that. Yeah? Luke Shaw's another prime example, right? 8 seasons. He has one good season. Everyone's giving him the nickname Roberto Shaw, whatever, etc., etc. What I'm trying to say is, like, we got to sell a lot of players, regardless of players that we brought into the club or youth players. Rashford has been there 7 years. Martial has been there 7 years. Their goal difference is there's not a big difference between them, right? If big money comes in for Martial, I'll accept it. If big money comes in for Rashford, I'll accept it. We need to rebuild. Simple as that. That's just my point, innit? Yeah? I can't see Rashford taking us any further. He's not, like, we could do better on the left. We could do better in left-back position. That's what I'm just trying to say, innit? But I'm just saying.
Listen, 100%.
90 mil, if that rumour was real.
I respect everybody's opinion, and I'm sure everybody has an opinion. Let me just say this quickly, that you don't rate a player, right? I don't rate Scott McTominay, but when Scott McTominay gets to play number 8 and is an attacking when he plays his correct position, Scott McTominay puts up numbers. He has shots outside the box. He's sometimes involved in goals, and that's what he does. When he's played as a number 6, for me, when I ask people who criticize Rashford, what is Rashford? After coming through, been there for the United for the past 5 to 6 years, nobody can tell me what he is, and that to me is on the club.
Okay. Where does he play?
Well, his favorite side is left now. The club found out.
I'm gonna give you a prime example.
He's an inverted forward now. That's what he is.
Is he a right footer?
No, he's right footed. Yeah.
Okay, so when he plays on the right, the guy can't hardly cross on his right foot.
Well, he's not looking to cross; he's looking to score.
There's many times. That's what I'm trying to say.
He's looking to score, and Ralph Ranieri backed him up in that. Other than saying, "Why were you not passing to each other?" Ralph Ranieri came after the Villa and said, "Oh yeah, we know, we spoke about it. He needs to go." And like a goal is gonna magically make him like it's gonna improve his form. No, you go back to basics. So he's not being told what to do. He's been allowed. That's why I said that Ralph Ranieri is being compromised because players are back to doing what they were doing under Ollie. Bruno, headless chicken. Mundo, did you watch that, or am I dreaming about this?
No, listen. I watched the game, and yeah, you can definitely see that he's gone back to. He's tried his tactics. The players are not bought into it, so he's gone back to, for that particular game, he went back to something that they were familiar with, which was the Ollie system, which I think everyone on this platform will say is garbage, right? It didn't get us anywhere. But just picking up on the points that were made before about Rashford, the thing is, and I do agree to some extent in terms of, if you want to win trophies, there has to be a level. There has to be a level of performance, and there has to be a level of consistency, right? And yes, there's been mitigating circumstances. We made excuses for these players, but at the end of the day, if the board are really, really serious about this, then Ranić should be the man making the big decisions about who comes and who goes, right? The reason why I'm a little bit optimistic about Ranić and him being a director of football, whatever it might be, is because I think
he's consultant,
whatever it might be, right, is because he can also speak a language that the Glazers understand, which is money.
But Mundo, hold it there 1 second. Ivanov, do you follow me on Twitter? Send me a message on Twitter. Go ahead, Mundo. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so that he also speaks in a language they understand, which is money, right? So I'm pretty certain that if he said, look, we could get £200 million for Rashford, but I've got this guy who's a replacement who's only going to cost you 10 million, right? I don't necessarily think the Glazers would object to that, yeah? So I think that, but what...
I think you're wrong, Mundo. I fundamentally disagree. Because the propaganda that's at the heart of homegrown players is second to none. You see it with McTominay. You see it. And the only time the Glazers have ever spoken, the Glazers said, Ronaldo joined Man United when he was like 15 or something like that, and look, he became one of the biggest players.
But the thing is,
you know the guy with a bald head that was followed around in Miami? That's what he said. The other Glazer that was at Saudi Arabia, he went to some conference in Saudi Arabia. He spoke about Man United develop young players who have been there since a very young age, and because that's the part of the PR. That's the propaganda that they fits.
Should I tell you why I think you're wrong on that? Because we bought Ronaldo as a young player.
No, I'm not talking. Listen, Mundo, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about under Fergie. That's totally different. I'm talking about now. Since Fergie's gone, the tagline has been to talk about other players that have come through. Now, Man United, those of you who don't know, I think hold a record. I think in 90 years almost, in 80 years or 90 years, Manchester United have always had one player who come from the youth team. One player in every match day squad.
But you're forgetting that we've got Greenwood, we've got guys like Elanga.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying to you, the Glazers and the propaganda that's around where Ed Woodward has ever spoke, where Richard Arnold ever spoke, they always emphasize that young players are grabbed by Man United young age, and then they go to play Man United because that's part of the propaganda. I'm just letting you know.
No, this is the point I'm making. If a club comes in with a big offer for Rashford, and the manager doesn't object, and they've got that player lined up, I believe that the Glazers would sell, right? Because they're about money, and as long as they can keep, if what you're saying is true, as long as they've got another young player to take that place, it's just a production line. The reason why they are buying young players is because of the real sell value, the value that they can sell them on for. That's the only reason they're buying young players. And they're just feeding the propaganda to say we're buying young players because that's the United way. No, they're buying young players because they're thinking, and they only bought Ronaldo because of his commercial value. So everything they do is got a commercial element to it. Right?
No, I understand. Listen, if Fergie was here, if a manager, let's say, with like Fergie's stature, I think they can, because Van Gaal got rid of Welbeck, and there's still people at United going, that was a mistake. He was a nice lad. I'm like, no, he wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough.
But we as fans won't complain as long as we're winning, right? So let's say, for example, right, Ranić gets his way, he gets full control over players coming and going. Let's say that he gets the manager that he wants. And at the moment, we've been linked with Ten Hag. That would be a dream ticket for me if we got Ten Hag. If Ten Hag comes in, he's got a reputation for young players, right? So he might say, actually, yeah, you can sell X, Y, and Z because we've got these guys in the youth system. We've got our scouting system. We've got young players. And guess what, Glazers? You don't have to spend £200 million every summer or £150 million. In fact, you don't have to spend. We're actually going to be like Liverpool. We're going to operate like Liverpool, where we're going to get players and we're going to sell at a profit, and then we're going to replace them with cheaper versions, and we're going to make them into world beaters, right? That is, for the Glazers, that's pound signs. So I don't think they are particularly attached. I think that was more to do with, that was Woodward's approach, yeah? And Woodward was the man in charge, and that was the only, he doesn't know about football. So the way that he makes money for the Glazers is different to how someone like Ranić would present their case in terms of this is how the club can make money, right? Ranić would be more like the Ajax model, right? And if you're getting the Ajax manager to come in, then that's what they'll be selling to the board. If the board buy that, then we're going to look more like a Man City in terms of structure than we do at the moment. That's what I'm hoping. But
that's a big hope, by the way. That's a huge hope. And consultancy means, I'm sure you know, consultancy means you only take advice. That doesn't mean that they do. So the power that Ranieri's going to have after the 6 months is to be seen. But I don't think he's going to have any power. But guys, we want to move on. Big up Khalis Ramadan lastly and everybody else in the comments. Ivanov, if you follow me on social media, bro, get in touch and then you can come on. The biggest thing I want to go into, fairly visual, is that I want to talk about and Bombay and CM. So I'll go to CM. Villa, what do you expect to see change? So let me just give everybody the brief. McGinn is suspended for them. Scott McTominay is suspended for us, and Luke Shaw is suspended as well. So Luke Shaw is suspended, and Scott McTominay is suspended, 5 yellow cards, and McGinn is banned as well. He's suspended as well because the amount of yellow cards he's had. They've signed Luca Digne and Coutinho, and most likely they've registered them in time for them to make their debuts. So I'll go to you, CM. What are you expecting from this game? Do you think the game's going to go similar flow to the game that we saw at Old Trafford? Or do you think Man United as a team, as this coaching staff, as Ralph, are going to come out with a different way to play them?
Nah, to be honest, I expect it to be more of the same, whether it is a win or a draw. I believe that, especially on the past few games, I don't believe there are going to be any changes in terms of game plan or maybe game plan, but I'm not saying playing style or anything like that. I believe, there's not a lot that can be changed with this team at the moment. I think it's just that there's a negative mood around the camp, and I think that's gone on to everybody on the pitch, whether it be the players, and that will carry on. That will continue those negative performances. And Ralph Rangnick, I'm sure he's doing what he's doing with his set of coaching stuff on the training pitch. But it just feels like at the moment, all of these players are in a rut, and it's going to take quite a while to get out of that. And it's a confusing situation because, you look at the players Aston Villa got, they could bring a different element to the game. And I look at our team and I feel like, once again, you expect that bounce back feeling, that mentality to say, listen, lads, we haven't played good enough. We haven't played good enough at all, and we need to up our game. But how can you say that they're going to do that when they didn't do it against Wolves? They didn't do it against Aston Villa in the FA Cup. They didn't do it against Newcastle, Norwich, all of those teams. How can you really believe in that? I don't.
All right, Oli Boumbaye, what do you think? What kind of tactics we're going to play on tomorrow night? What do you expect to see change? So just to tell you, who's coming back from injuries? United, Harry Maguire, Phil Jones, Jadon Sancho, Cristiano Ronaldo. They all missed. Ronaldo is pushing it. Harry Maguire's trained. Phil Jones injured. Sancho, I've not heard. I don't know how long he's been training, but he's also back in training apparently. Do you expect to see anything different on the low block FC?
Yeah, my expectation, if I was talking and the players could hear me, I'd tell them I expect to see a much better application. I don't care what the tactics are. I don't care who's playing. I expect you guys to go out there on the pitch and play like it's the last game you're ever going to play, and bring it. Put the effort in, put the tackles in, do what you need to do, because these are the reasons why players are getting criticised as well. It's not just, just I mean, so what I want from the players is to play, man. Is to play.
If the players and the club has allowed the players and has undermined me personally, that's why I don't think Raf's in charge anymore. Because Steven Gerrard comes into Villa. Steven Gerrard, within 3 to 4 games of him being there, 3 to 4 weeks there, fundamentally changes the way Villa play. The players are more aggressive. They have a clear 4-3-3 system. Sometimes he sits around, like sometimes he'll play 2 up front and then dominate more of a diamond in midfield. But with Gondia and Gwyn and the other guy that used to play for
City. Don't forget Nuruddin.
But what I'm saying to you, you see it fundamentally different. Hard to play against, very tough team that's going to fight for every ball and second ball. Now, after one game, we've had the one game bounce. Something's happened at this football club where what I saw in the last game, Ralph Ranieri's tactics, how he wants to play, in terms of the aggression, the four elements: physicality, technical, tactical, and mentality. All that went out the window. Individual FC coming back. So what gives you that confidence?
CM is just spoken. When we're talking about Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa, we're talking about everything is as it should be. We're ready to take on board what you need us. Everything else is fine. You tell us what you want us to do, and we'll execute it on the training ground, and we'll implement it in the game as best as we can, and we'll improve at it. Ralph Ranieri hasn't come in where everything's hunky-dory, and that's all that has to happen. This is the thing. Ralph Ranieri is starting from a minus because what he's picked up is an absolute disaster. There's a reason why Oli got sacked after 8 games, man. It didn't just happen because we all decided, yeah, let's get a new manager. There was a major reason. After 8 games, we sacked a guy who we thought had a team to challenge for the league at the start of the year. That tells you how far United have gone. So it is confusing, as CM said, and I've been saying, for 2-3 podcasts now, there's a lot of problems. It's hard to know where to start and what to fix. But if the managers come in and I'm a player, man, or whatever it is, whatever job you do, and the new guys come in and it's terrible, it's negative, you're down, you go out there and you do your best, at least for yourself and for the fans. You play for that shirt. This is all cliche, old school type talk, but this is what you need now. Go and give a good display of your own self, man. Put a proper shift in, and we can beat Villa. We can beat Villa. So, do you know what, Villa, first half, I didn't think we were that bad. There were some good things.
No, the first half was an even game. Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? There were some good things. Now, I saw some of Ralph's good work, but second half it dropped off.
We turned over the ball.
Do you know what I'm saying? Apply. Just
where we give the ball away.
And take some pride in your own performance, irrespective of everything else, of your own individual performance, and that hopefully, if everybody does that, it will improve the collective.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. A new manager's coming.
Irrespective of look, what I'm trying to say to you. Look. No. You listen. One second. Listen. Look. Irrespective of whether there is no consequence or a million consequences, I am asking a player who's come to play for one of the biggest clubs in the world to go and take charge of his own performance and apply his own self. Go and do that, even if you're not going to get told off, even if the fans, after we get beat 10-0 tomorrow, are going to say, you're amazing, we love you. You go out there and play yourself, do your game. That's what I want to see. I'm not seeing that. What's happening every week is, do you know what? Ralph's changed the system. Do you know what? We got Darren Fleck. Go and apply yourself. If I'm seeing that, no problem. The rest will take some time to get us out of this big hole. But you lot go and take charge of your performances. We've got every single fan channel, every single post-match show that you watch are picking out highlights of players who are just throwing arms in the air. They're not asked. They're not making the runs. They're not putting a shift in comparison to all the other teams. That there, if you're having a shit form, that's one thing. But these criticisms that go right across the board, these criticisms are a problem for you guys. And they have to be dug out. So go and play. I don't know what he's going to play, what system. I'm happy with whoever plays, whatever system he plays, I promise you. I am giving Ralph time. I'm not here to tell him what to do or pick nothing. I know what he's taken over. The problems are a lot more than I thought they were. Go and apply yourself. That's all I'd say. Take some pride, man, in your job, irrespective of what you think is going to happen after, or go and play. You're good enough. You play for Man United. You don't hate because you're rubbish. You don't play for Man United if you're rubbish. You got to have something about you. Go and perform, man. Take charge of your performance. That's all I want to see.
CM, go to you, bro. What do you reckon? Do you think that when there's no accountability, when players are kept on the pitch, when they're horrendous and fatigue themselves out and gas themselves out, Belly Visual, come back, bro, because I've got to get your point on this. But tell me, what do you think when there's no accountability? To me, I want to see players being hooked off. You're not doing what I asked you on the pitch. Get off the pitch. So when that's not happening, and the club are involved, the board are involved, the bankers' favorite people they've employed to run this football club are involved. Because footballers need any excuse they can get. But when you don't show them accountability, like you're not good enough, you're not playing, how can things improve when nobody's doing that? When it's all friendly?
The thing is, and it's a shame because, you know, we all speak about having personal pride on the football pitch. And I generally feel like the mentality, it's just a mentality change, a mentality switch of some of the modern day footballers. I feel like obviously things like accountability, they should come naturally. You know, things like pride, they should come naturally. But it seems like a lot of our players, and I will say this, you know, instead of saying get rid of all of our players, I would say that a lot of the players we have had over the years and that are in our team right now, they have been, I would say, overhyped to the point where they may not be good enough to lead us to places, but they can contribute. The problem right now is these players are not contributing in the basic areas. And you can say that's down to the culture that is created within the club, and you can also say that is down to their personal flaws mentally. And I think it's a bit of both. I look at it and I say, all right, when it's a football match, it's down to you to perform. It's down to the coach and stuff to say, all right, I've given you your tactics for the game. I've given you the way you want to play and you need to execute it. Now, if it's a certain point in the game and certain players need to come off, I want to see that. At halftime, I want to see players coming off if they're not playing well enough. Before halftime.
I don't see that. I didn't see that against Villa. He waited and waited. Like, basically, what I'm trying to make a point to you guys is that I don't see a huge difference between Ralph Rangnick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So where does my conclusion go to, Mundo? If the brothers thinks exactly the same as me, after the Villa game, after the Palace game, where Ole pushed them and they played for about half an hour or for a half, let's say, they played to the tactics of Rangnick. That's where I think people at the board got involved. And now players are in power again. And favoritism FC comes back in again. So, Mundo, how can there be accountability when that's happening?
Yeah, I think I agree with Oli Bummaye in terms of, because when I think about the Norwich game and when I think about Newcastle,
they're horrendous, absolute horrendous.
They didn't. The only reason that they were better than us is not because their managers set them up tactically and had better players. They just worked harder than our players. As simple as that. It's just that their players worked harder than our players, right? If we put in the same application and same level of effort as any of those teams, probability is we're going to win because we've got better players. Simple as, right? The tactical side of it, I know people are concerned about the 4-2-2-2, but
no, he's abandoned that now, Mundo. That's gone.
Yeah, no, I know he's abandoned that, but I think, but even if he was to come back with it, the reason for me that it doesn't work is because the players are not applying. The
midfield is not right. You can't have two number 8s as two number 6s. You can't.
But it doesn't matter because the front four. I mean, let's leave the midfield out of it for a moment. When you watch the game, the front four aren't even doing their job. They've got to trigger the press. And when you watch, you see the front four, they're just walking. But the way that they've been set up, they are in position to win the ball. So I'm thinking the manager's obviously thought about it. He's got tactics. The team's set up in a certain shape. It's the players just not applying themselves. They're not running. They're not moving. They're just walking around the pitch. And the style of football that he wants to implement requires you to be full throttle and physical, right? And we should not be getting out-battled and out-fought by Norwich and Newcastle, right? And Roy Keane and others in the media alluded to this quite a while back. And I was just thinking, it's just like, English.
But there was no demands made on them. There was no on Oli for 3 years. There was no demands made on these players to work hard. Oli tried that high press. When I watch Oli in Norway for his Norwegian team, right? Stop it, right? When I watch Ollie with his Norwegian team, they play similar style to Liverpool, 4-3-3, very high pressing, high press, and there was energy fighting for second balls, winning, and that's how they played. He did it against Liverpool for one game, and I think we had 3 or 4 muscular injuries, right? In one half against Liverpool, that 1-1 game where Rashford scored. And Lallana equalized late towards the game, you remember, right? The difference between Klopp and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Klopp, when he first came into Liverpool, he was like, I don't care if people get injured. The system is the system. Where Ole went with the players and said, okay, we play to wait, take it easy. We don't play a lot of physicality. We play moments. That took us for what it took us. So at the end of the day, for me, I'm 100% sure Elanga came on. Elanga was on the pitch maybe for 10 minutes. Elanga did more in that 10 minutes
than everybody else on the pitch.
And Rashford did. Yeah. Facts, right? So why don't you give the young players a chance, like Ahmad, like Elanga, because they will go and do it. They'll run into because they're hungry, right? Well, these guys are not. So to me, is that the reason why I believe Ralph Rangnick has compromised himself. Nothing has changed from the Ollie, and I'm not buying it. My eyes don't lie to me. I go to that fucking stadium and I see the same things. Same thing again and again. While Steven Gerrard goes into Villa, changed. While Dean Smith goes into Norwich, changed.
No, listen, I agree with you to an extent, yeah. But this is why, and this is what I'm saying to you. This is why I'm putting my focus on the players, because ultimately,
well, why not? So Mundo, what would you rather have 11 players, regardless of the names they are, right? Regardless of whatever name they are, that are doing.
Can I just say something?
Are doing what you asked of them, or 11 players who are big names, who make the club money, who bring commercial revenue on the pitch. What would you do?
Look, I've said from the start. Go on, Oliver, say your point.
Bro, listen, Dino, you can't...
I'm not having it.
No, just please. Professional football players that are our first team cannot be absolved by just throwing in the 23s.
No,
they have to... Listen, bro, look. They have to do their job. And this is why we are talking about the players, and we keep coming back to the players are now in the limelight. We're not asking them to win a league. We're not asking to win a Champions League anymore. We're barely asking for top 4. You are the first team players. It's a lot easier. You can't just go, right, just throw in the 23s and all. I understand why people say that, whatever. You are paid and you are employed. This is the job you have to do. You can't just let them slide. You have to do your job. If you don't want to do your job, and we can see that you're not doing just the basic shit. Like Mundo said, they're not better than us, these teams. They just outworked us. And this has been a common criticism and a common theme now for a bit.
I don't think it's just the word. I think they
well. There's no way around. Bro, there's no way around absolving players. Whether there's accountability or not.
My agenda is punish these players then. Take them off the pitch.
Bro, look, listen.
It was the FA Cup game. Let me finish.
I don't want to take up too much.
Cup game. In the FA Cup, you're allowed 5 institutions.
Look,
5.
Do you know, Ralph?
Doing what they're supposed to be doing. Why are you not taking them off?
Bro, look, Ralph Rangnick, sometimes, it's a lot easier to take a player off. Now, you know what? I want him to suffer. Keep him in. I've played in teams before where I'm having a stinker. I'm dying to get off. The manager says to me, I'm not taking you off. It's up to you.
No. I don't listen.
No. Listen. Do you know what this 6 months? Do you know? Listen. Do you know this 6 months here?
I don't buy that. I'm sorry. I don't buy that.
Boys, do you know what I think?
I'm not
Ralph Rangnick is
favorite. Stay on the pitch regardless, and that's
look, bro. Dino, look. Do you know? I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes you sound like a conspiracy theorist. I swear to God. I swear to God, you sound like a conspiracy theorist. Honestly,
I'm asking you the question.
I'm not joking.
I'm asking you the question. On the Fergie, let me ask you the question. Answer the question. If the player was having a stinker, did Fergie keep him on and punish him?
Let me answer the question by saying this is not Fergie.
No,
Don't compare that. This is a different, complete situation, bro. The situation.
Do Pep Guardiola keep players who are having a stinker on the pitch? No,
guys. Do you know when you're talking about United at the moment, Nuruddin?
You get off the pitch, mate.
The only thing that is the same.
No, explain to me. About what changed since Ollie? Ollie kept the favourites on the pitch, regardless how much stinker.
Do you know what? You're moving from. You're moving. So
what's changed? Tell me what's changed.
While I'm trying to answer 3 questions ago, you're banging more questions.
I'm not answering my question though. You're skating around. Why have they not been taken off? When you're having a stinker, why are you not coming off the pitch?
Because sometimes you want to see if a player can sink or swim. And Ralph, to the end of the season, is going to weed people out. That's what he should be doing. There's no sense in you coming in, completely ruffling the shit out of loads of feathers and making things worse. You keep asking me, listen, there, please. You keep bringing Alex Ferguson's Man United. The only thing we have in common today with the Man United era is the name of the club. The situation that Iranik has come into. He's at a negative. He's at a loss. Steven Gerrard, I just explained to you, has come into a very settled thing. All right, we're the players. Everything's cool. What do you want us to do? Hey, we've got like 10, 14 players that want to leave, people that don't want to sign contracts, people are unhappy. There's so many rumblings. You yourself keep telling us every week, this guy's doing this is happening. It's unbelievable. It's like EastEnders. This is what we're talking about. Is this supposed to be football? So when Ralph is not is substituting Greenwood and he's keeping Rashford on, sometimes, bro, you got to understand the psychology behind these things. I could be way wrong, but surely there has to be, do you know what I mean? It's certainly a possibility. Keep a guy on. You're going to play whether you like it or not. You know what? Squeal in front of the fans. That's part of manning up. Not every time you're having a bad game or you're shirking responsibility will take you off. Fuck that. We're paying you big money, mate. You're staying on and you better start performing. Tough love. And the players that are not going to be able to do it and the ones that are not going to see eye to eye with Ralph Rangnick, it's different ways of doing things. You can go in and go like Jose, go ill, kill it, risk absolutely blowing it up. Ralph Rangnick, who told you that he's not looking now and seeing everything for what it is? And at the end of the season, we might be surprised by who goes and who stays. You can't discount that. This guy, when Mundo, you told me about Ralph Rangnick. I never heard of him. I went and read up on this guy. And when I watch him speak and understand a little bit about him, you know what? I'm on board with it. We have to give this guy time. He has made very bold decisions at other clubs where he's got rid of fan favorites, the best players, the most experienced ones, brought in people no one's ever heard of and made them into top players. You've just got to give it some time. It's like a conspiracy theory that never ends.
No, listen. Here's where I'm going to come in. Somebody in the comments said, the guys, relax. Emmanuel said, relax, the guy's here for 6 months. It's exactly the reason why he's only here for 6 months. That's why he doesn't have to have any favourites and continue the Ollie fucking Phelan Fletcher project. That's what I'm sick of. And I'll say it to you now. Mundo, CM, when managers come in to a new club, do they not look around and go, right, you're not my captain. I didn't make you my captain. Now, there was a quote there, Ralph, talking about Maguire captaincy. Ralph Rangnick doesn't owe Maguire anything to keep him as captain. How many managers, regardless how long they're there for, go in to a club and make their mark on it within 5 or 3 weeks? That happens. That happens.
Yeah, but the one thing...
There, right? So why, to me, Mundo, I think I'm going crazy. I might be the only one. Nothing has changed other than for a half against Crystal Palace from what we were watching with Ollie. I'm sorry to say, I see it with my own eyes. So when a new manager comes in, you get to see different players being changed. You expect to see, even if he wants to, take the captaincy of a person because you're not my guy. You're not my guy. That's why when ownerships, right, new owners take over a football club. They look at that owner, they look at that coach manager, and they look at the football structure of that club and go, you're not my guy, so I'm getting rid of you and bringing my own people in, right? I know 6 months is exactly that point. This guy is not here for next season, so why is he not allowed, why is the club not allowing him to make the big calls? Can somebody please answer that question, or am I going
But
mad?
that, but
No,
only
no, no,
you're
no.
saying
I'm
he's not
gonna
being
hear from
allowed.
Mundo. You had your saying, but I'm going to hear from Mundo, then CM. Go ahead, Mundo.
I think personally that when I think initially, so this is just from my observations, I think he came into the club. I think he probably did have plans on having the job for slightly longer than 6 months, maybe 18 months as the manager. After the first 2 games, he's realised I ain't going to be the manager after 6 months. So maybe it isn't one side of it is, yes, the pressure from the club and internals like Darren Fletcher, whatever. But the other side of the coin, if he's playing devil's advocate, it could be that he's saying, well, actually, I'm not going to make these big calls now because when the new manager comes in 6 months, they're going to be my guy because I'm going to be bringing that guy in and I'm going to let that guy decide about who's coming, who's staying, who's going, who's captain, blah, 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 right? So that might be his thinking, because for me, it wouldn't make sense for him to change the captain now, because in the summer, if Ten Hag comes in, he might say, well, actually, I don't want Bruno to be the captain. I want this guy to be the captain. Yeah. So it's even more disruption. For me,
I was using the captaincy as an example. I'm not talking about the captaincy. I'm talking about club favourites playing when they're playing shit, especially in the cup games. So in the Champions League and in the FA Cup, you've got 5 substitutions, right? 5. So when players are not performing, what you've asked them to do, why have you kept them on the pitch? Because like you said, you're not the manager after this. So they're not going to have any personal contact with you. By the way, all of what you said about Rav Ranier going upstairs, he's a consultant. We are not sure. We hope, we all hope, but we're not certain that he's going to have a say who's the next manager is and how we do the recruitment. We are nowhere near anything being sure. But CM, I'll come to you. Am I seeing what I'm seeing? Because to me, manager comes in and makes changes. That's why you see it clearly. You see already within a month, the guy stamps his own authority, regardless what the other manager's done, regardless what the board because at the end of the day, for that 6 months, he's here. Or
the example you're using is not relevant here, because those managers are appointed on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 year contracts. So the players know. So you got to think about the mentality of the players. They know that this is the manager, and if I piss about, then I might get sold. I'm not going to be in the team. But if you think about our players, they're looking at Ralph Rangnick and thinking, he's only here until the summer, so I don't give a shit about what this guy's saying. So it's a completely different.
Well, exactly to that point. So why don't he go tough and bench those players? And especially in the cup games. I'm not talking about all the league games. I'm talking about the cup games where you've got 5 substitutions to make. So why are you not making an example, especially if you want to stay around the football club? Why don't you start with a culture right now? Because we already know it's a football club, yeah? Man United failed to sack Oli in time. They should have gone after the Europa League final. Everybody knows deep down that's when it should have gone. Not because we lost, because the way we played, which was synonymous with the way he's managed in that season, right? So why are we still pandering when you all 3 of you are coming out saying the players? Why are you pandering to the players when they're not listening to you?
Maybe some of them. So maybe the ones that he would play are some of the ones that are the rebels that are really giving him problems, right? So we can't put them on the pitch.
No, that's
the ones that are on the pitch.
Listen, the rebels. Listen, the biggest leaker everybody knows. The biggest leaker who leaks to Samuel Lockers is Henderson. Everybody knows that, Mundo, because he wants to go in battle for England. It's not Donny van der Beek, by the way. It's not Donny van der Beek, because Donny van der Beek is far too professional to do that. He's not that guy to do that. Everybody knows the guy who's got the ear, because they have a relationship. For a year and a half, Samuel Lockers, who writes for the Evening News, was battling to try to get De Gea out of the football club and saying Henderson should have a chance, Henderson should have a chance. So all of a sudden, a lot of the leaks are coming out. It's Henderson and English players that are doing this. It's not the foreign guys. Facts. But go ahead. Go ahead, CM. Please answer this question, because I just want to know the answer to this question.
You know what? It's so tough to answer these questions, because I feel like we're all getting into the same place. I feel like, and I bounce back something, because Mundo said that, the players, their mentality towards Ralph Rangnick is, I don't give a toss because he's only going to be manager for 6 months. But shouldn't they almost want to be impressing him because they know he's going to be in the board after that period? They should be wanting to impress him. So I don't understand that, because in the end of the day, I feel like, and I know we keep on talking about the players. I know there's a lot of problems at Manchester United, and maybe we're all just going in circles and coming back in the middle because there are so many problems, and we don't know whether to go over there, whether to go over to this side, that side, anywhere, because it's so confusing. But in the end of the day, I just look at it this way. I think Ralph Rangnick, in these last few games, you could have probably have picked out more than 5 substitutions, because we've, as a collective, everybody's played bad on the pitch. So you could have done that. And fair enough, you can mention the things about having favoritisms and stuff like that. And that was really highlighted in that Oli era. And I think maybe that is a problem. Maybe another problem is the fact that we almost shine a light that is too bright on certain players and raise the expectations on them when maybe they are just never going to be that good. But, like I said, it's these questions. Not even I can't answer it, because I just feel like, yes, maybe some guys should have been brought off, but it's almost like what ifs at this point. You look at Manchester United and go on, Nuruddin.
What Vinny's saying, you can't come in for 6 months and disrupt. Listen, Vinny, there's nothing to disrupt. It's been a pile of shite since the beginning of the season, since the end of last season, mate. It's been an absolute pile of shite. So when you go, like, you can't come in for 6 months and do. Why not? Why not when it's been a bag of shite leading up to that 6 months? It's been absolute horrendous.
One thing I agree with Mando on what he said is the fact that Ralph Rangnick will probably be looking at this period and saying, I'm going to assess each and every player that I see in this squad, not just during matches, but in training. And sometimes who's staying here, who's working hard, who's not working hard. He has to assess that if he's going to be in a board role. So maybe his mentality is that when this next manager comes, I'm going to tell him what's good from what's not good. We are going to find out everything about what Ralph Rangnick truly is in that period when he goes up in that consultancy role. And God, I do pray that he has the leverage to make those decisions, because we're going to find out what he's really about. I think we'll see what we'll see from him as a manager in this period. I feel like it was almost a strange thing to make him interim manager and then make him go into the board, because I felt like at the time we almost know him as that guy who builds the football structure, and now he's here coaching, and then we already know he's going to be in another role. So at the time, maybe now I'm thinking, why didn't he just go straight there? But at the same time, I just feel like this whole period it's going to be a mess. It's going to be messy. We may win some games, we may lose some games, we may draw a lot of games. But I don't believe that we're going to see any improvements in terms of the way we play. And him abandoning the 4-2-2-2 kind of proved that to me. Because I feel like it's going to be tough for him to bring it back if the players continue to display a lack of application and a lack of dedication to really learn that system and just show basic effort. So for me, I'm already looking forward. Like, this season is a write-off to me. So I'm already looking forward.
Actually, the club have done it for you. You've not wrote the season off yourself. Yeah. None of the fans have, but the club have done it for us.
Yeah.
The way they've limped to sacking Oli, which was the most obvious thing. Obvious thing. They should have gone at the end of that, in that final, not because we lost, but because of that. And I'm refusing to believe that a guy who's coming for 6 months is not allowed to change anything, because you already have his arms tied behind his back. That's what is going on for me. Because honestly, on the way we're playing, I have not seen anything change. other than the first half against Crystal Palace. Other than that first half against Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
I have not seen anything change from Oli to Jose. Low block FC. That's why Wolverhampton can come and ball us off the park. Ball us off the park.
And that's why we've all been disappointed, because we saw that half an hour against Crystal Palace and we was like, all right, maybe we're going somewhere. At least we have somebody now who's going to have a set system. And then Ralph Rangnick's gone away from that. And you can't criticize him for that. In the end of the day, like I said at the start, it's all about holding everybody accountable. But there are also reasons to that, and reasons why you can, once again, hold everybody accountable. Are those players displaying enough energy for him to implement that system? And I mean, even in terms of subbing off guys, I've seen substitutions come on and they've provided no energy boost, no changes to the game. And I'm thinking, yo, some of these guys have points to prove. Jesse Lingard is talking about he wants to be a part of it. He wants to fight his way back into the team. And the last few performances I've seen him coming out, I don't want to pick out him in particular, but he was the first one who came to my mind. When I say those are guys who are supposed to be proving points, and they're not doing it when they're coming on the pitch. They're not providing that extra bit of energy, what we've been missing. So, you know, in terms of, you know, disciplining certain players, taking them off, embarrassing them in front of the Old Trafford crowd or the away crowd, it's almost like the players have reached a point where everybody is rock bottom. Even the very best players like Cristiano Ronaldo, because he can't impact a game if the players behind him aren't creating chances, or if he's not, you know, exerting the energy with all of the other 10 guys on the pitch. So it's like, if everybody else is playing bad, including the ones on the bench, there's nobody to choose from. There's nobody at all to choose from. And it's like, all right, then I might as well pick this amount of players. And I've seen Ralph, you know, pick certain guys. And I hope with these suspensions, he does choose some of the other fringe people that haven't had a look in. But it's like, I see everybody here come on, and I don't see change. I don't see an impact.
Personally, for me, Rashford doesn't play. Bruno Fernandes, even though he was effective, he was tactically indisciplined. Headless chicken. That's why they kept playing the ball around us, because he was going on his one-man press, exactly the same things Oli was doing. I wasn't disappointed because of the whole game. I was disappointed that I saw the way the team was playing under Oli. Nothing has changed in 5-6 weeks. Nothing.
You know,
that's what hurt me the most, being in that stadium. For me, Ilanga starts. If there was any courage, any cojones, any balls, if Ralph Ranick is truly in charge, then Ilanga starts. Rashford's on the bench. That's how it is. Bruno's on the bench. But we're not going to get that. We're going to get two number eights playing as number 6. Actually, one of them is banned anyway. We're going to have Fred playing as a number 6 and Matic as a number 6. And they're going to ping the ball around him. And like Stephen Kramer said on the comments, Coutinho.
You know, boys, this is a World Cup year. The players can't wait till the summer to get what they want. If they want to go to the World Cup,
it's not a summer, it's winter. It's winter World Cup, by the way. It's winter.
Okay, winter World Cup. Yeah. Point is, the season's finished. Teams are picked. So if these lads want to go to the World Cup, they're playing for that. They're playing for their future here at the club. And this is why when you're looking at players, yeah, I understand what you mean when you say nothing's changed. You're watching it, you're like, this is as terrible as it was before Ralph came. But Stevie G comes in, bro. It's a different vibe there. This is a real big issue that Ralph has got to clean up to get them into the pluses. We're in the minuses here.
Well,
and I just think
that's what I'm saying to you. So would it have been better? Ralph comes in as a consultant, right? And Man United should have got a permanent manager in the time other than having
well, yeah, it would have been, bro. But I think the problem is nobody foresaw the speed at which Oli went like that, and he had to because it was so shocking. Nobody's seen that. The board did get caught with its pants down a bit, so there I do sympathise with them. So if you're going to bring my man Ranick in, and like we all hope to address things in terms of processes involved with the football and aspects of the club, then let's put him in as manager. for 6 months. His analysis is what we're going to go with anyway, as in the consultancy, when he becomes a consultant. So let him analyze what we've got. Let him tell us from now. So I think now, yes, I think we're going to see, we might unfortunately see a lot more shit. But what I hope Ralph is doing, and I'm sure he is, bro, different players are fired in different ways. Different situations call for different things. You know, it's like you can't treat Cantona or Ronaldo the way you treat Gary Neville or Phil Neville. It's different.
No,
But
we
Ralph
don't
Rangnick now,
do you know
what I mean? But I think
Ronaldo and Cavani, we don't have those type of players.
I'm just giving you, every player is triggered in different ways, is motivated in different ways. And some players need to be challenged in different ways. This is why I think sometimes what I want, and I agree, sometimes I think yes, no, but then I look at it and think, if you don't have faith in Ralph Rangnick, then you will be forever.
No, listen, I have faith in Ralph Rangnick. I don't have faith in the club because they've already
But look, in terms of undermining the manager, this is something that I cannot get involved with. We will see at the end of the year. But Ralph Rangnick, I have got faith that this guy is a personality who is analysing the good from the bad, from the ugly, and he is preparing for the end of the year. So the players, man, if they think they're just going to be chilling, mate, it's this guy that's going to have a big say in who comes, who goes, what happens next. So, like, see,
I've never seen, unless they change the top job title, I have never seen a consultant ever determine who comes in, who goes. I have never seen. I've never seen that.
Well, I think he's, you know, if we're talking about him coming in to change Manchester United, you know, footballing apparatus from top to the bottom, then he will. He's a manager as well. And don't forget, listen, the next man that comes in.
That's what the fans were hoping. But the club,
we're still hoping. We're still hoping. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but bro, if you're coming into the club, Dino, you're coming in next after Rangnick, you're going to sit down with Ralph and say to Ralph, right, what have I got here? He'll tell you this guy is like this guy is like that, and it's not like Ralph is saying goodbye. You're gonna see him every day at the club. These players are playing for their futures to an extent. They're playing to get into World Cup teams. They're playing for a move. Who's going to want to buy a player that is not doing nothing, that is shocking? Do you understand what I'm saying? And the club has to find a club to buy this player that is playing so badly and pay him the big wages and get a transfer fee that's in line with what you'd expect. There's a lot to play for.
I don't think
that's why the players. I think they have to. Fair enough.
I genuinely don't think they care. On the last point of this, I will say this. I think Ralph has come in with his ideas, wanted to make changes, but like every other manager Manchester United have since Fergie's left, the club are getting him to adapt to their ways, and hence mediocre arises. Mundo, I'll give you the last word. You think we're going to beat Villa, or do you think it's going to be the same low block FC? We're going to get smashed right, left, and centre on the footballing wise.
If we apply ourselves as we have done over the last 4 or 5 games, we've got no chance. I think if the players, even if they up it by 50%, we've got a chance. Yeah. But we'll know in the first 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, what kind of game we're going to get.
That's all it takes with United. You know straight away.
Yeah. If the intensity is not there from the first minute, then you know it's not going to be one of those games.
But you tell me, when was the last time Man United played with intensity? At least 9 years. Tell me, what manager did we ever play intensity with?
Do you know what? Under Oli, I swear to God, you could see, right, oh, yes, the boys are up for it today. And you could see we're fucked today. They're not there. Against PSG, you thought, yes, our boys are playing today. There are games, ones that you think you're getting popped, and you look at the team, and I'd be like, yeah, the boys are here.
Games, though? Has there been consistent games in the last?
No, I'm not saying consistent. You're asking me, like, has there been? There's nothing consistent, bro, but there are games. When Man United, this is the problem. When Man United are up for it, you should be able to see it by now. Pick it up like, yes, the boys are going to put a shift into today.
I don't see it. I see better coached, better organized teams, and we were fluking it a lot under Oli by having moments FC, where guys were just grabbing a worldies, Rashford goal, Bruno penalty, here and there, nicking games, holding on to games, not winning it distinctively, not winning it with style, where we play for 70 minutes. The only game I can ever recognize for 60 minutes where Man United went and absolutely crammed the team in, it was in the League Cup. He played a diamond in midfield. He played Donny, Pogba, Bruno, Matic, and we played them at Everton's ground. And it was in the League Cup, and Cavani scored that wonderful goal. You remember, in the bottom corner. Mm-hmm. That was the only game that I saw. I thought, wow, that's how Man United to play. That's how we would play. We kept possession, crammed them in. That's the only game that comes into my head. No other games come there. Every other game was a struggle. That's why so many teams were coming back to us. But we can go on and on. For me, all I comment about, guys, and I'm honestly, zero agenda on here other than to get the Glazers out, get the fucking bankers out. Everything else, I'm always open-minded to. But what I saw against Villa with my own eyes in that stadium was nothing distinct about it other than Villa, who are not a possession team, came to Old Trafford and balled us off the park. And in that first half, they were lucky to be losing. In the second half, they tore us apart. And that is what, and to me, that's where the saying comes in. And I agree. You're only good as your last game, because we can't talk about what's going to happen tomorrow. But tomorrow, for me, man, the only way Man United win this is by fluking it. It's playing low block football, giving the likes of Coutinho and Lucadinha. I think that Lucadinha might play, and I think Coutinho might be involved in the game. So I genuinely think the only way we're going to win it is if we fluke it. Somehow we fluke it. Because I don't think we're going to win it on physicality, on mentality, on technical or tactical. We're not going to win it because we're playing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer football. We are. And Bruno would be going headless again, same way, one-man press, and they'll pass around us. And this is the big about it. When you get a high press up the pitch, and the first guy, the trigger, gets passed around, the press is gone. Some people don't understand that bit. When the trigger guy, who's Bruno, gets beaten, the press is gone, because the other teams are overloaded with 2 against 1 anyway. You're always going to have 2 against 1. That's why teams play out from the back now. Why? In football, it gives you up the pitch how to overload with players and how to have the advantage always having a diagonal pass that's open other than having a square pass. That's why teams play out from the back. It's because of that reason. It's to have an advantage from the kick, other than hoofing it up where people are fighting for it 50-50. It's try to get the advantage. And when the first trigger goes, headless chicken runs, and not even that. If you were pressing one guy, I won't mind. He presses one guy, then runs. It's like, you stay there. You stay with that guy. The midfield and the fullback supposed to then, and the centre half all supposed to squeeze up. Everybody squeezes up so that the guy on Villa who's on the ball doesn't have any options but tries to play a risky ball. Then you pounce and win the ball back. But we don't do that. Looks like I bought Bombay with that talk. But anyway, big up to every one of you. Please, 93 of you in here. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you don't subscribe. Here you get in-depth, mate. In-depth. And disagreements are there to be had. I personally don't think. I need to be convinced that this is Ralph Rangnick's tactics. Because what I see is nothing but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer 2.0. And there was no need to sack Ole then if we're going to get Ralph Rangnick playing the same thing as Ole. And for me, when I started getting paranoid, is when I heard Ralph Rangnick's words. He said 2.5-hour phone call with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The guy's gone, he's been sacked, he's not good enough. Why did you speak to him for 2.5 hours? That is a fact, by the way. Out of his own mouth, he said that. That's when I started to worry. And then when I saw Darren Fletcher having more influence, and I'm reading that Darren Fletcher and Murta was the guys who interviewed Ralph Rangnick. I'm like, By the way, in the interview process, come in, I'll be your number 2. What about qualification? Coaching at Stoke Kids.
I think those are just like another small part of the problem, really. Because in the end of the day, he has brought in his own coaching staff. So why aren't they there barking orders,
because Manchester United DNA. And even now, he used those words as well. By the way, another paranoia when he used the words of Man United. I've been like every press conference I'm listening, and he's sounding more like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I swear to God. I look like Ollie's still in charge. I just want him to take off the mask. And Man United done us like this, guys. They've done us. I've seen him on the touchline. He looks nothing like Ollie. He's a 60-year-old man, more crouched, like, you know what I mean? He's getting old. But honestly, in the press conference now, he used the words DNA, and it was like a dagger to my heart, because Ferguson wasn't part of Man United DNA. He was not part of Pioneer. He came into that club and revolutionized it. And he was given the time to revolutionize it. And he won a trophy after 4 years. That's not happening. That's not happening. That is not happening here. The bankers are still making decisions. That's why we want them out. We want the Glazers out. Simple, simple. Like, you can say that, bro. That you could say something's fishy. But for me, I was absolutely devastated. And if you've not watched our match reaction, watch it. Because when I came in from Villa, I couldn't believe what I saw with my eyes. It was rinse and repeat Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It was unbelievable in that second half. Villa are not a possession team. Bullied us. Glazers out, bankers out, Fletcher out, Feeling out, all these muppets out, mate. Players, they don't want to play for Man United, get the hell out as well. But we don't do that because there's Glazeronomics, where we give big wages to young players who have achieved nothing, and then we then go, oh, we can't be sold. Nobody. Now they're asking for Martial, 6 million they're asking for. You think Sevilla going to pay 6 million just to take him alone to the end of the season? On what planet are you on? And pay his wages? This is what we are, mate. This is what we are. Shambles FC and Mundo came up with a new one today. Cling on, mate. We cling on to players. Even though when they don't want to be here, we keep them hostage. And for me, for goodness sake, the last comment is free Donny fucking Van der Beek. It's a World Cup year. He needs to fuck off. You don't rate him. I know that. We understand that as a football club. Let the kid fucking go. Let the kid go. Let him go. Stop putting him in fucking jail. It's enough now. I'm going to have to ring Amnesty International. This is a human rights issue now. That's what it's becoming. Genuinely. Mundo, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, at Mighty Mundo on Twitter.
Not very active, though, are you? You don't even get involved. You don't even put the odd tweet out there, do you? You need to get the odd tweet out, mate. CM, let them know where they can find you.
CM22ENT on all socials, Twitch and YouTube. Big up the panel.
Yo, check out his very interesting content on his channel. I'm not going to say what it is, but go to CM and subscribe to his channel. It's a very interesting content he does. Boomba, let them know where they can find you.
Celebrating the victory here tomorrow. That's where it's going to be, boys. That's where it's going to be.
I was going to say on the Richard Arnold's batting, but that's another thing, innit? You know. Always supporting the bankers.
It's theirs. It's there, man. It's theirs. We can only reach so far. For me, my friend, you get behind this manager. It's a tough job. And end of the year, problem is in life. Like with every manager, I wish we could see into the future just 6 months, but you can't. You've got to find out what was really going on once the dust settles. So get behind the manager, get behind the players. Hopefully, tomorrow will be a good day.
Well, let's hope. I don't think, like I said to you, I see if we play decent, it could be a draw. If we go anywhere the way we played against them in Old Trafford, it's a comfortable win. Unless we fluke it somehow. Unless we fluke it. Predictions, like that's what I just said. It could be a draw, unless we fluke it somehow. But if we play like the way we played against them, with the headless chicken runs of what's his name, of Bruno, and no proper press, playing guys who are number 8 as number 6s, we're gonna get absolutely outrun. And if he plays 2 in the pivot, we're getting smashed, because I said that and I keep saying it. Midfield is where you need to control the game. Midfield is what gives you to keep possession of the game, to dominate the game, gives you that platform. We don't do that. We're averse to doing that. And to me, that's why I think Ollie's in charge. Me personally. Nothing has changed from Ollie. Nothing has changed from Ollie. But peace, love, and light, people. Take care. And we'll see you tomorrow night around 8:30. Wonder, will you be available at 8:30, 9 o'clock? Tomorrow we do an in-depth breakdown. CM, are you ready for that?
It depends on the score.
Come on, man. You only come on. You gotta go come give your opinion. I know Bumbaye will be here. CM, will you be there, or are you busy tomorrow night?
Tomorrow, I think I'm on my bro's channel. Can I shout him actually?
Yeah. Let him know what's your bro's channel, man.
Pros Only TV.
Pro
Eagle Eyed Football, Rich. They're covering AFCON.
Oh yeah, wicked.
So
man.
yeah, I'm gonna be showing.
Yeah, what's the guy score today? What did he finish? I watched the first half. I didn't watch.
Yeah.
Yo, tell Rich his boys smashed and grabbed it today, man.
What was the score? 1-0.
Yeah, 1-0, 1-0.
Yeah, the Ghana game finished 1-1 in the end.
Oh, they're out. They're out, mate. Black Stars are out. They're out, mate.
I'm telling you, it's not looking good.
They've lost one and drawn one. They're out, mate. And that means that Gabon has won one, drawn one. Yeah, good night, Black Stars, man. They've not produced a good, talented footballers, man. They've not produced. But anyway, peace, love, and light, man. What's the channel called again?
So Pros Only TV. He's the main guy covering it.
I'll check it out. Peace, light, peace, love, and light, guys. Take care. See you tomorrow. I don't even believe in hope and pray anymore. I've stopped hoping and praying. I'll just see you tomorrow. I've been hoping and praying for 9 years. Nothing has changed. So nothing has changed. I'll see you tomorrow night. The hopes and prayers are gone. Gone, mate. No. I'll just be like, we'll be here tomorrow. We'll call it as we see it. Peace.